Hi you guys! For a few years now I've been collecting photos, videos of the most unique violins that I could find. I got quite a collection now, so I decided to make a video for you guys. All the violins that I added to this video are in fact playable, and also said to myself that it needs to exist one video of it so that I would know it's legit. And I found a lot more weirder things than expected. We're going to start with the ones that you may have heard of, and throughout the video it's gonna get weirder and weirder. I want to start out with the violins made out of trash. And Philharmonics is an orchestra of teenagers, kids and a teacher that has made instruments entirely from trash. They couldn't afford any instruments but found a solution by creating instruments of their own, and has gotten attention all around the world because of it. Next are 3D violins. There are different types of 3D violins. The most famous one I think is a 3D Various. It's an electric violin that comes in both 4 and 5 strings. I actually found several 3D printed acoustic violins. And then I found this thing. This violin is a little different considering it only has 2 strings. And there's also cellos made in this style. The next we have is the ice violins, made by Tim Linhart in Sweden. They're actually so fragile that the player's breath risks nudging them out of tune. That might explain the plastic plate that they placed on here. This violin is so heavy that they have to support it by ropes. Next is a straw violin. Straw? I don't know how to say it. The straw violin has 2 horns, one positioned at the end of the fingerboard to project the sound, and a smaller horn that allows the player to hear their own sound more clearly. The straw violin is also much louder than the standard wooden violin. This violin is pretty cool. The entire violin is made out of matches. It's actually 16,000 matchsticks that took to create this violin, and it's actually made in 1937. I actually found a video of it, and like in the distance you don't really see that it's made of matchsticks, but when you get close that's when you see like the details on it. Now there's this band, a rock violin band called the Fuse. For some reason they have the most insane violins. 2 of the violins that they own are actually covered in 50,000 crystals each, and these are 24-karat gold-plated violins, and they're worth $2 million. And if that wasn't enough, the scrolls actually has ruby, sapphire and diamond encrusted golden skulls. The guy in the band is actually a 5-time world record holding fastest violinists. That was difficult to say. Speaking of gold violins, I actually found an acoustic gold violin, which you can imagine it's a lot heavier than a regular violin. It weighs 14 kilos. I didn't find a video of somebody playing the violin though, but then again that makes sense because it's really heavy. Next is the titanium violin. It weighs 2 pounds, so it's basically a double of a traditional wood violin. As far as I know, it's the only titanium violin ever made. When you play it, you actually have to have a band-aid on your pointer finger, or else you can cut yourself sliding up and down. Ouch! Now the glass violin. This is like one of my favorites. It's really pretty. It's slightly heavier than a regular violin, weighing 1.4 kilograms. It did cost $50,000 to make. It's not just the body, it's the fingerboard and it's the tailpiece, just glass all the way through. Now this violin I did find recently. I found out about this stone violin made of black diabase, which apparently is a subvolcanic rock. It was named the blackbird after the common blackbird because of its coloring. Now we are getting to the part of the video that just gets weirder and weirder. The spider silk violin. Yes, spider silk. Apparently they discovered that the amazing resonating properties of spider silk can be used to create instruments, and the spider silk here comes from an Australian golden orb spider. Nope. World's biggest playable violin. You actually need 3 people to play this violin. It's 4.28 meters tall and 1.45 meters wide and weighs over 130 kilos. The bow alone weighs 15 kilos and it took 15 people over 1700 hours to make. Look at the size of the pegs. And the guy just, like, imagine tuning that. It would be insane. Now, next on our list is the violins made out of random objects. Why is that the title, you ask? Well, I was searching for something really weird. I wanted to find something unique that nobody has seen before. So I went to Google, and a lot of the pictures looked like photoshopped violins or just art that people made mixing violins with random objects. But then I did a little more research, and apparently there's this guy called Ken Butler that makes violins and other instruments out of random objects. And apparently it's playable violins, and it calls them the hybrid instruments. I can basically just name a random object and this guy would have made an instrument out of it. Like a phone, a cane, mannequin, skull of some kind, like a freaking umbrella. And I found several videos of him playing these violins. So there's one more unique violin that I just had to add to this video. So you guys may have heard of Mark Woods, which is actually the inventor of the electric violin, which has created the awesome electric violin, the Viper. It's a bucket list of mine just to try one of those instruments. But we're going to talk about the earlier instruments that he made. He has made some interesting violins. Among these, he has actually made this one. One thing is the look of it, but there's a story behind it too. So take a look at that sharp knife thingy that is going through the arm of the body of the instrument. That thing is sharp, and he has it pointing directly at his arm. When he was on stage performing with this instrument, he actually tripped and managed to cut his arm in the process. Ouch! Like, why design it sharp? By the way, he gave it a name. He calls it the Violins. Get it? So that was it for this video. I hope you guys liked it. If you want to see more violin geeking, I didn't want to include videos of these violins in this video because I would get some copyright trouble. But I made a playlist with all the violins so that you can watch and hear how they sound like. But before that, please like this video and subscribe to see more violin geekiness. And see you guys next time. Bye!